Hi, welcome to the June Junior Tennis Talk. I'm Beth Azan.
And I'm Caitee Morgan-Taylor.
Uh, this month, we're going to just spend some time going through a few refreshers. We know that a lot of our players have taken time off to play high school tennis, or at least within Missouri Valley. We haven't had as many tournaments between January and the start of June. So we filled a lot of questions. Unfortunately, with the few tournaments we've had recently, we've also had a few issues that have come up. So we felt like it would just be a good opportunity to kick the dust off the tires a little bit and kind of do a quick review with everybody. So in this presentation today, it won't take long. Again, we're just going to give a few gentle reminders, but also hopefully provide you with some good information and a list of resources that will help you prepare to play in USTA tournaments this summer. So we will do a quick review of our summer schedule. Caitee, I'm going to turn this over to her. As she's going to go through the importance of the tournament homepage, player responsibilities, and then I will pick it up from there. So as you can see, we have a lot of tournaments on our calendar for the summer. Some of those that I think I get a lot of questions about, especially this time of year, are going to be our team events. But I do want to take this opportunity for our Missouri Valley players to remind you that the deadline for our biggest section championship tournament for the Rally in the Valley tournament is this Wednesday at 4:59 p.m. So if you're listening to this prior to that and you want to play, make sure you get registered because we do not accept late entries into any of our USTA Missouri Valley section level tournaments. All right, team events. Last year, Caitee and I recorded a talk where we went into a lot more detail about the team events that we have for you within USTA Missouri Valley. If you would like to take a deeper dive to learn more about those events, the formats, please just scan this QR code on this slide or on your screen and you can listen to that talk. You'll also see a lot more information on the slides themselves. But as always, after listening to that, if you have questions, please reach out to me or Caitee. We're happy to answer those. I will, as a reminder, there are different formats within these team events. The Level 5 mixed duo, obviously, that's just one boy, one girl per team. Our Battle of the Mississippi is also a mixed duo, but our Level 4 Mid-America mashup and our Level 1 Battle of the Sections, those do have more players per team. So the formats are a little bit different. So again, if you have any questions, please reach out. Team events. So, I just want to reiterate why a team event is a fun tournament for a player. I get so many requests from our players. And as you know, we have a junior advisory panel. And one of the things that we got back as far as feedback from our panel was we want more team events within our section. So we were asked, why, what is it about the team event format that you like? And these were the things that your player or players that are listening told us. They see a lot of these players from tournament to tournament become friends. It's a fun opportunity in many cases to play with those friends that they've made who live in other cities. And it's a great opportunity to make a new friend. Their sportsmanship really gets revved up at these team events, and consequently, they're a lot of fun. So the other aspect, I say teamwork, because, yes, definitely just being able to strategize with your team and come up with a plan for your matches. But we also allow players to coach one another in our team events. So that is an aspect of that tournament that our players really enjoy. Don't like to focus too much on ranking points, but it is a question that comes up from time to time. The team event is unique, and the way that points are awarded is different than your traditional feed-in format that a lot of our players play. With the team event, points are going to be awarded based on wins. So let's take an example, a Dom duo format. If a player, so in that situation, the players, both boy and girl, would play a singles match, and then they would play a doubles match. So if the boy loses his match and the girl wins her singles match, but they lose her doubles match, technically their team has lost that round, but the girl who won her singles match will still receive wins for her singles match. So players like that. Because it is a great opportunity to win points individually, also while playing on and supporting a team. So if you ever have questions about the team event format specifically and looking at your players' ranking points, or you have a player want to reach out, by all means, I'm happy to answer those questions for you. All right, Caitee, I'm going to turn this over to you.
Okay, so this summer we have a couple new opportunities for playing tournaments. We're flighting 2 of our level 5s. So basically what that means is we're still accepting 32 players in it, but we're going to split the 32 players into 2 groups of 16 based on WTN. So you have an A flight and a B flight. Those 16 players are going to play in a compass draw. So it's a non-elimination format, meaning everybody will get 4 singles matches. And we preface that with as long as the divisions fill. And then everybody will also get guaranteed one doubles match, if not up to 4. Don't wait to register for these because I think these are going to be a hit for us and everybody's excited to have this opportunity. So we have one in Des Moines in a couple weeks. That deadline is next Wednesday. And then we also have one in Oklahoma City at the end of September, and they're split between Edmond Center Court and Oklahoma City Tennis Center.
Thank you. And as Caitee mentioned, it's important to remember these are pilots. And we've gotten a lot of feedback from coaches and from parents and from players telling us they love this compass format, that they will travel to play in this format. So we're offering it. But in order for us to duplicate these tournaments, convert more of our level 5 to this format, we need to fill these tournaments and prove that they are what our players and parents and coaches want. So that's why we're spending a lot of extra time talking about this. So please help us make this an opportunity within Missouri Valley by registering for these tournaments right away.
Okay, so let's just do a quick little review of our tournament homepages. Any question you might have is most likely going to be on the tournament homepage. You look at your dates, your location, you'll have your entry deadlines, the type of draws that'll be played at the tournament, the scoring, how players are selected, how players are seated, and I'll have all the tournament director contact information and just also other information that could be important, like the host hotel or stringing or warm-up courts and all that stuff. I just encourage everybody, before you just automatically email, text, call a tournament director, double check the tournament homepage because it's most likely on there. So save yourself the step from texting and calling and just read a little bit more and find that info for yourself. Getting into the player responsibilities at a tournament. Number 1, you got to register for a tournament before the deadline. As Beth said earlier, we do not accept late entries into any of our USTA Missouri Valley tournaments. Pre-match, before you get there, check into the tournament. And when you check in for a tournament, that means you're ready to play. That doesn't mean you're going to check in and then go put on sunscreen, run to the restroom, put on your shoes. When you check in, it means you're ready to walk on the court and start your warm-up with your opponent. So when you get there, you need to check in at least 15 minutes. Some tournament directors expect more, and they'll let you know when they communicate with you 15 minutes before your match time, because if there's courts available, why not get on early and play? Players only check in at the tournament desk. We don't need a player and their mom and dad and grandma and grandpa at the tournament desk as well. Sometimes it's a small enclosed space and it just becomes very overcrowded. So we just need players to check in. And then you can go inform your spectators what court you're going to be on after that. Remember, be on time. Lateness can equal penalties. Once your match is called, and if you aren't called, they'll start a clock for you. Within that first 5 minutes, if you're not there, you lose the toss and the first game. So it's easier to be on time than to be late and have to start digging yourself out of a hole right away. Introduce yourself to your opponent. Make sure you're aware of the scoring formats before you walk out on court. Take your 5-minute warm up and then 2 minutes to serve and then get that match started. During the match, player's responsibility, say the score loudly so that way you and your opponent do not get confused. As a tournament director myself, some of the biggest problems that I've ever seen on court is because they're the score disputes, and it's because nobody's saying the score during their match. And suddenly we don't know where we're at, and and then there's confusion, and then we're not happy with each other. Use the scorecards. That way the spectators are aware what's going on. If there's an issue on court, a spectator cannot come get an official for you. The player has to go get the official. A lot of times there's that confusion, and then people get upset because there's no official there. But remember, the player has to go do it for you. Nobody else can. If you need a restroom break during your match, please do it during the set break. Not necessarily if you have to. Make sure it's on a changeover though. And then just remember that there's no coaching during a match unless you've split sets. So a coach and player or parent can't go to the restroom with you if you're going. Coaching opportunities when you split sets, you get a 3-minute coaching break. Another super important thing to remember is please play the tournament through completion. I'm at an L4 this weekend, and the amount of withdrawals has been brutal, honestly, throughout the tournament. So if you need to withdraw, please make sure it's for a legitimate reason, okay? And the other thing is...
Caitee, can I jump in really quickly on that? Do you mind?
No,
so I love that Caitee brought this up, and I put something on all your radar, and that is USTA National recognizes that this is a really big problem. The walkover rate within all of our tournaments across the board is one of the biggest complaints that we field within our section office, and that we have elevated to our national office. And so USTA National, in working in conjunction with ITA, are strategizing ways to address this issue. So it may be automatic suspension points. It's going to be displayed on a player's profile. It's going to be shared with ITA. How often does this player withdraw from a tournament? What does that look like from a percentage standpoint, as far as what's the percentage of matches completed versus the percentage of matches that a player has not completed? There may be some educational components that go with it. So if it's noticed that a player is a frequent flyer and is consistently withdrawing from the back draw, then it's possible your account will get frozen and you'll be required to go through an educational course before you will be allowed to register for another tournament. So when you withdraw from a tournament, obviously an injury and an illness is a valid excuse. We do not want you playing when you don't feel well or if you're injured. But to withdraw from a tournament to protect your UTR, or because you just don't feel like playing, you are taking an play opportunity away from another person. It also is just a life skill. Finishing what you start is very important. In working through adversity, you will grow more through that experience than you will through most experiences throughout your tennis career. So from that standpoint, it's also very valuable to push through and play if you're not injured and you're not sick.
Okay, thank you. Last post-match, both players need to make sure you come to the tournament desk and report your score. With that, you confirming your next match time. A lot of times, even if you lose, you're still going to have one more match potentially. So just double checking that and not just leaving the site. Also, don't take any detours on your way to the tournament desk post match. Make sure you go straight to the tournament desk. Don't stop. Give your family the rundown and then mosey your way up there. It's easier if both players are there at the same time, so we can confirm the score and then confirm next match times all at that one point. And then also nominate your good sportsmanship on court. We have a partnership with Match Tennis app. This summer is the time to really get those nominations through and that chance to win your trip to the US Open if you can.
All right, thank you, Caitee. And as a reminder, all these things we talk about are also part of the player code, which can be found in Friend at Court. So we always put this up here because this is not just something that we just arbitrarily a list of things we put together. It is part of the code for players. All right, our supportive spectators, thank you. We know, just even as myself, as a parent with two, they're grown, I shouldn't say that now, but when they were in grade school all the way through high school, they played competitive sports, which required a lot of traveling. So we understand that the time commitment, the time away from work, from your other family members, and just to have to pay for the travel alone, it's a big undertaking. And so we just want to thank you for your support. I mean, it means a lot to us. As a spectator, there are some things that are very helpful that you can certainly do before a tournament, during a tournament, and after a tournament to help your player. Many of you are very seasoned, but I do like to put a few reminders out there. The draws, once the draws are published, be aware if there's multiple sites. So in Missouri Valley, we try not to do this very often, but we do know as you go into some other sections that you may have seen where the location is on the main tournament page, but your child is actually playing at the local high school. And you're not aware of that because it wasn't obviously posted. So I always say, go to the draw, really look at the draw, make sure you know where your kiddo is supposed to be and when they're supposed to be there. A lot of this just is self-explanatory, but I do want to bring a few things up. As of today, our biggest, I would say, grievances that Caitee and I field from our office doesn't have to do with players. It has to do with spectators, which is really unfortunate since we are sanctioning tournaments for junior players. I mean, I'm actually glad, I should take that back. I'm glad that we're not getting a lot of calls about players specifically, but it is disheartening that we are fielding so many spectator issues. One of the things that you can do as a spectator is cheer for good shots, or just stay silent. I think what's starting to happen is we're seeing more and more is that the unforced errors are being applauded and cheered for. And what that does as a spectator is that it starts to rev up the negative energy, not just on the court, but also with your child's opponent's parents or grandparents or coach who's sitting near close to you. So I ask that as spectators, just be aware that you have a large responsibility for really contributing to the positive atmosphere of a tournament, that the way that you conduct yourself as a spectator is very impactful in the space around you. So please be aware of that. And there's just little things that you can do to help us make this tournament experience better for our players, because it's ultimately for them. So again, with cheering, I think that positive body language is very important. I know my kids would always look right at me to see how I responded if they struck out, if they missed a ball, if they missed a goal, whatever that happened to be. They immediately look to us. And so we just have to smile and wave. However, there were times that were difficult to watch, or I could feel that my emotions were getting pretty heightened. And I didn't want them to see me in that state. So I took an emotional lap so I could get myself calmed down. And then I would come back and try to maintain my cool. And I'm telling you, I've made mistakes myself in that situation as a spectator. I'm not perfect, but I learned from them. So this is just, based on my own experience and a lot of webinars that I've attended from sports mindset psychologists on the importance of that spectator role and how your energy really does impact your player and the people around you. Tournament staff and officials, y'all, it is so hard to get tournament directors up to a state, trained up to a point where they are able to host one of our section tournaments. But also when they have to deal with behavior at a tournament, or parents or coaches are rude to them, or they have to call security to have them removed from the facility, they're kind of like, life's too short. I don't want to do this anymore. And so we have a FIFO survey that you receive at the end of any tournament. If there is constructive feedback that you could provide for us in respect to the officials and the tournament staff, please use that survey as an opportunity to do that. What I ask is be professional, polite, and courteous with the tournament staff and the officials. It just goes a long way to ensuring that if you want your kiddo to play at that tournament site again, then help us make sure that we have the staff to support that tournament. All right, coaching. I think, this hits a lot, but move your feet. That's coaching. Good shot. Anything that is a verb tends to be coaching. Anything that is praise, typically isn't. So just kind of keep that in mind. So the ugly part that's listed on here has to do with our ability to assess suspension points to your player based on your behavior. So in 2024, Missouri Valley implemented a spectator policy, and this was intended to support our tournament staff. So they have something to point to if they need to remove a spectator from a tournament. So this is the warning. We send this out in the post-selection email. It should be posted at the tournament desk. It's on our tournament homepage. So if a spectator violates any of the guidelines that we have here, they will be removed from a facility. No questions asked, and they will not be allowed back for the remainder of the tournament. Then the official and the tournament staff will call me, they'll call Caitee, we'll meet with the head referee, and we'll determine if we want to issue suspension points to the player based on that spectator's behavior. So once again, this is the warning. This is something that we put in place because our ultimate number one responsibility is to keep our players safe. And we can't do that if we have an unruly or unhinged spectator attending one of the tournaments. But as we've said, there are so many things as parents, as coaches, as caregivers for our players that you can do to help support them and guide them. Because we know without you, this wouldn't be possible. So 97% of the time, everyone's fantastic. It's just those few that have a bad day that kind of ruin it for the bunch. Caitee, is there anything else you want to add?
No, again, the coaching thing, I think, is what, from a spectator standpoint, it all stems from a parent trying to coach their child during a match most of the time. So just learn that line of support/coach. During a match, the spectator's job is to be a supporter. The only time your job is to be a coach is in that 3 minutes if they've split sets. Before, after, you can be a coach all you want, but during that match, your job is just to support your player. So,
right, thank you. As Caitee mentioned before, we do like to always do the reminder about our sportsmanship nominations. So we often always know about any bad apples, any incidents that happen at a tournament. Caitee and I are pretty well informed on those. But what we don't get to hear about is that we know there's so many wonderful players out there who demonstrate fantastic sportsmanship, but very few people actually take the time to nominate them. So I think that's very important. So the more that we can work towards promoting the good and shutting down the bad, that will improve the overall quality of our tournaments. So we're putting this again as a reminder. We will be running this contest through the end of the year. So please don't hesitate to go on and nominate those players. A little goes a long way, and we really appreciate it from our end. All right, we have some player resources for you. I did put a Beat the Heat link on here. And this article, I actually have it on where it says Beth is on my link page. If you scan that QR code, there will be a link to that Beat the Heat article. And I thought this was valuable because it is one of those things that as we are starting to get into summer, and yes, we will play tennis when it's hot. So the best thing that you can do is help your player, or you as a player, get hydrated and stay hydrated. So there's some great tips on here for making sure that you set yourself up for success, or that you help set your player up for success. I would say the biggest part of that is to start drinking a lot of water 48 hours before the match. If you start trying to do that before the match, in the morning of the match, you're probably a little behind the 8 ball at that point. So, but this article link will be on my link page here. So, Rained Outline. If you don't subscribe to USTA Missouri Valley Juniors text service, please do. Caitee and I will send entry deadline reminders through that service, usually a few days out, if not the day before the entry deadline. We know you're very busy, or may even be traveling from another tournament, and sometimes those entry deadlines just go in and out of your mind. So we hope that receiving that text is helpful. So if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. There'll be links to our previous junior tennis talks. The National Resource page is fantastic. So a lot of information just ensure the overall health of your player. And then our Missouri Valley schedule and our national schedules will also be contained within those links. And as always, if you ever have any questions, please reach out to me or reach out to Caitee. We love to help. We certainly don't mind fielding phone calls or answering emails. We would rather that you come straight to the source than maybe get misinformation from somebody else. So by all means, never hesitate to reach out. We're here to support you. We're here to support your player. And Caitee, anything else to add before we sign off?
That is all I have.
Okay, well, thank you so much. And you all, good luck this summer, and we'll see you soon.